Welcome back, everybody. If you're new here, I'm Raptors Shaq, but you can call me Steve. I do Toronto Raptors and NBA videos, and in today's video, we're taking a look at the Raptors bench and role players and doing a buy, hold, and sell exercise. I talk a lot about the Raptors starters and honorary starter slash six-man Colin Murray-Boyles, but I won't be covering them in today's video. I'll be focusing on the role players and the guys off the bench who have been contributing and not contributing to the Raptors' success this season. At the time of recording, it's just been 10 games into the season. The Brooklyn Nets game hasn't happened, so all stats are relative just to the first 10 games. Without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with Raptors' third-year wing, Gradey Dick. And for Gradey, I am buying. This season, he's averaging 7.8 points, 2.1 rebounds, and 0.2 assists on 39, 39, 80 splits in about 50 minutes a game. Now, if you compare this season's stats to last season's stats, it'll look like he's having a regression season, and in some ways he is comparatively, just because he was really cooking at the start of last season, but that's kind of deceptive compared to the actual impact he has had on the floor. Last season, the Raptors had a bottom 5 half-court offense, and this season they have a top 5 half-court offense. Now, a lot of that can be attributed to Brandon Ingram's arrival and players getting more used to Darko's system, but you can't overstate how much Gradey has had an impact on the half-court offense. One of the ways he does this is with his three-point shooting gravity, which is kind of a reputation he's had ever since he's come into the league. Whether or not he was hitting shots, he's always pulled extra attention from defenders and had defenders shade him, opening up the floors for the other players on this team. But this season, he's actually been living up to that reputation, shooting near 40% from three. The first couple of games, he was a bit iffy, but his shot has come along since then, which is great to see. One of the ways that Gradey's been able to impact the Raptors' half-court offense, and probably the most important way he's been able to do so, is to generate paint touches, move the ball, clear out, and relocate. This bends defenses like crazy, and he gets defenders chasing him, and the bending of the defense opens up the floor for guys like Scottie Barnes to drive downhill or other players to attack closeouts. The other thing this leads to is wide open threes for teammates who have really been making opponents pay. So total A+ for Gradey on the offensive side, and on the defensive side, which is typically an area of struggle for Gradey and would typically keep him out of games. This season, it's been hit and miss, with the first couple of games being a bit of a struggle, but the last couple of games he has been substantially better. He's not falling asleep off ball as much, and he's definitely been doing a better job of keeping in front of his own man and defending in the ISO situations. Moving on to Raptors sophomore Ja'Kobe Walter, who I'm gonna say hold despite his disappointing season so far. He's averaging just 2.7 points, 1.3 assists, and 0.6 assists on pretty terrible efficiency of 25% field goal, 27% from three, and 100 from free throw, which is great. Okay, you're making your free throws, but he doesn't really get a lot of free throw opportunities in the first place. Now, he's doing this in just 11 minutes, which kind of shows how disappointing he has been for Darko, who is not really playing him that often. I have been pretty critical of a lot of Darko's rotations, and at the beginning of the season, it didn't make sense to me why Ja'Kobe was getting DNPs, but his play has not really warranted him getting on the floor. Obviously, the inconsistency with his role is probably contributing to this, and his confidence is probably down as a result of it, so it's hard to fully knock him for his downplay, but it's definitely a bit of an area of concern. Now, he's only 21 years old, which is why I'm saying hold on Ja'Kobe, because he's got his whole career in front of him, and this might just be a bit of a blip. We've seen guys like Gradey go through some ups and downs, so I think we should afford the same patience to Ja'Kobe as he tries to work things out. For a guy whose role in the NBA is projected as a 3-and-D player, his defense has not really been at that level. He definitely looks undersized and not strong enough to defend against NBA-sized guys. Hopefully, Ja'Kobe can get some more catch-and-shoot opportunities when he does get into the game, because he typically sinks those at a pretty high mark, and that should help with his confidence. Moving on to probably the brightest spot of any Raptors role player, Sandro Mamukelashvili. The new signing has been fantastic and fit in basically every lineup, so I'm definitely buying. I would buy all the Sandro stock if I could. In 18 minutes, he's averaging 9 points, 3.4 rebounds, and 1.9 assists on very impressive 58, 43, 80 shooting splits. If you want to see Sandro's impact, just look at his two-man lineup data. He is a positive with every single player. It's very rare that the Raptors make a signing like this, where the player actually lives up to and maybe exceeds the reputation that they had coming in. Typically, we get guys and then they kind of disappoint. But Mamu has been the exact opposite, and he deserves all the praise for that. His excellent production and impact is also coming at great value, as he makes just $2.4 million a season for the next 2 years. Apart from his production, impact, and great value, he has fit seamlessly into the culture that the Raptors are trying to build. So across the board, just A++ signing and fantastic first 10 games from Mamu. Moving on to Raptors sniper Jamison Battle, which I'm absolutely buying. I wish he would get more minutes. He pretty much single-handedly won the Raptors a game, and the next couple games he basically got DNP'd, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Again, critical of Darko's rotations, but in the minutes he has been getting, he's been lighting it up. He's only averaging 6.8 minutes a game, but has been scoring 4.5 points, 0.9 rebounds, and 0.1 assists on some truly insane shooting splits of 72, 71, 0. He hasn't got a free throw this season. He is an incredibly cheap, young, low-maintenance sniper who deserves more minutes and should be playing over a lot of guys that are getting rotation minutes. He has great size at 6'7", about 240 pounds, and he's been doing a decent job as a defender, which is all you can really ask for a three-point specialist. Next up is the player who has probably been the most disappointing Raptor this season, Ochai Agbaji, who I'm unfortunately going to have to say sell. In 14 minutes off the bench, he's averaging 2.7 points, 2.7 rebounds, and 0.7 assists on 36, 8, 62 splits. Yes, that's an 8. That's a single digit for a guy who is a 3-and-D player, which is super disappointing because last season he was kind of the perfect 3-and-D role player and he was one of the Raptors' best shooters off the bench. This season though, his shot is not falling and he is slowly losing minutes and getting passed in the rotation. For this to happen to him during a contract year, I really feel for him, but it's looking like he is definitely a player that the Raptors will be shopping at the deadline, because as we know, the Raptors are above the tax and moving a guy like Ochai would bring them under the tax. I really like Ochai, I think everybody does. He's a great defender, and when he is shooting, he is an excellent role player, but he's just not shooting it, and he's looking like a player that gets moved at the deadline or they let him walk in the offseason. If this is the level of play that Ochai is going to bring, his NBA career is kind of in jeopardy, so I really hope for him he can get it together and start getting closer to where he's been in his career as a shooter. Moving on to the Raptors' backup point guard Jamal Shead, who I am going to say hold on. Now, he's been very impressive the last couple of games and is really shooting the lights out, so I was very tempted to buy on him, but it's a small sample size and I really want to see the prolonged stretch of good play in order for me to buy in on Jamal Shead. This season, in 17 minutes off the bench, he's averaging 6.4 points, 1.7 rebounds, and 5 assists on 41, 44, 85 shooting splits. By far the biggest highlight for Jamal Shead has been his three-point shooting, which as something as a small guard you need to be able to do if you're going to stick in the league. And him shooting near 45% has been incredible. He's knocking down open catch and shoot threes, which has been excellent with Raptors ball movement, but he's also nailing some pretty crazy pull-up shots. Paired with that has been some excellent decision making and really good pick and roll play. On the other side of the ball, he's been an active aggressive pest, hounding ball handlers and drawing a lot of moving screen fouls, which is just perfect for a player of his archetype. He needs to really lean into that kind of Marcus Smart role of being a gritty defender who hits his open shots and is a great leader. And that leadership is exactly what you need from a backup point guard. It's usually the first thing that people mention about Jamal Shead, and it's really shining through. So for now, I'm holding on Jamal Shead with a lot of cautious optimism. I think if he can sustain this shooting, then he's going to have a long career in the NBA. Last but not least is Raptors second-year player Johnathan Mogbo, who I unfortunately am selling on. And this is less about Mogbo's play because he hasn't really played bad when he's been on the floor. He's only averaging about 5.6 minutes. He rarely gets opportunities because there's simply a couple players like Colin Roy-Boyles and Sandro Mamukelashvili who are more impactful, better players and give a lot more on the offensive side of the ball, so he won't be playing over them. This season, he's averaging just 1 point, 1.5 rebounds, and 0.7 assists on 50-0-0 shooting. Again, his opportunity has been so scarce, I don't even think he's taken a three, and he hasn't gotten to the line. He's been going back and forth between the Raptors and the Raptors 905 as they're trying to keep him active since they're not using him in game. I don't anticipate his role increasing unless there's a major step back from CMB or Sandro, so it's not looking great for him, and for his sake, I would hope that he would be moved so he can have another chance at getting his career going somewhere else. If you know me, you know I've been a big Mogbo guy. I think he's got some talent, and I think he's been an excellent defender. He definitely has some NBA skills that could keep him in the league, but currently he is like the Raptors' 14th man. He's about as likely as Garrett Temple to get minutes at this point, so I'm selling on Mogbo, unfortunately. So that's all I got for the Raptors bench, buy, hold, and sell. The players that I said sell on, it is nothing personal, but I just think that their roles are diminishing, and it'd probably be better for them and for the Raptors for them to be moved at the deadline, maybe packaged in some kind of deal. If you have thoughts on the Raptors bench or you disagree with my opinion on buying, holding, and selling with different players, please let me know in the comments, or you can follow me on Twitter and you can yell at me in my DMs. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe because it lets the algorithm know that I'm doing something right. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.